In the heart of Udoma, a quiet Igbo village surrounded by lush green hills, a beautiful woman named Nnenna finally got the answer to her prayers. After waiting 12 years for a child, she was finally blessed with the most beautiful and healthy child she had ever seen. Her name will be Kaima, her father said. It's only God we know. Her mother replied. Welcome, my child. Kaima grew up strong and beautiful. She also grew up with the most enchanting voice ever heard in the village. She was nicknamed Nnunu Egwu, meaning Songbird, by the villagers. At 17, Kaima was known all around the village. Parents offered her gifts, and she had many who wanted to be her friend. But suddenly, tragedy struck. Her father's farmland was set on fire, and they could not find the culprits. Her father couldn't bear the loss of his only means of survival going down the drain. He fell down and was paralyzed, unable to move his body. The village healer called it Oria stroke, meaning stroke sickness. She said it was only God that could bring healing, but that was after spending all their savings on ineffective medicines. Kaima's joy turned to sorrow. Her happy, energetic self became withdrawn. She heard stories of how people could earn money by singing on big stages in the city, and she saw it as a way out of her poverty, the only way to save her family from the grip of poverty. She had a gift, a rare soulful sound that could make even the most hardened elder pause and listen. Her voice was her freedom, her escape from the grip of poverty that wrapped itself tightly around her family. Kaima's mornings were filled with chores, fetching water from the stream, tending to the fire and helping her mother, Nnenna, to prepare food. But as soon as the sun climbed the sky, she found moments of reprieve beneath the great Udala tree. Kaima would sing her heart out, with her eyes closed, imagining herself on a grand stage where thousands would chant her name. Onye kwere, chi ya ga-ekwe. Adiga mama maka echi dị ime. Were ndidi, were okwukwe, oge gị ga-abịa. Maka na onye kwere, chi ya ga-ekwe. Onye kwere, chi ya ga-ekwe. Adiga mama maka echi dị. Kaima, Ifnaya shouted her name, whisking her out of the world of dreams. Ify, she said, smiling at her, how long have you been here? Well, long enough to hear your beautiful voice. When did you compose this one? Is it new? Yes, Ify, it is new. I saw myself on a big stage. I saw people cheering me on, Ifnaya. Kaima, one day you will sing in the city, Ifnaya said. They will know your name from Onitsha to Lagos. Yes, Kaima replied. One day I will stand on a stage so big that even the stars will bow. Yes, my friend, Ifnaya replied. One fateful day, during the end of the year festival in the village, where people from the city travel back to spend some time with their extended families in the village, Kaima was invited to sing for the villagers that evening. She was excited, and she begged her mother to follow her and watch her sing. Mama, I have been invited to sing, she said, and I have composed a new song, Mama. I want Nemo. Who will take care of your father? Her mother interrupted her. Just go. I will definitely hear you from here. Kaima's joy dwindled. "Don't worry, Kaima, I am here with you," Ifunanya said, holding her as they made their way to the village square. Kaima sang her heart out that evening and attracted the attention of a rich talent scout from the city. "Wow," he said as he approached her. "You have a world standard voice, Kaima." "Thank you, sir," she replied shyly. "Let me help you. Let me make you a star. I can take you to the city and make you a global figure." "Me? Are you serious?" she said with curious eyes. "Please, I'm coming," she replied and ran off to tell her mother the good news. When she got to the door, she saw a goat tied outside with tubers of yam and other foodstuff. "What is happening here?" she said as she eavesdropped. It was Chief Obidike, a wealthy man from the village. He was known as a man of power and means, but he had a bad reputation for marrying small girls and keeping them at home just to satisfy his old desires. "Good evening, Nnenna," Obidike said. "I have come to discuss a matter of great importance." Kaima's mother was seated. Her head was bowed down as she endured Obidike's scathing words. "I have heard of your daughter's beauty and talent," Obidike continued, "and am in need of a young bride. As you know, I am prepared to pay handsomely." Silence fell like a heavy rain. Kaima's heart pounded as her eyes darted towards her mother. "God, please, don't let her do it," Kaima said. Nnenna's lips trembled, but she replied, "She's still young, Chief." "Young but ripe," Obidike replied. "Think of your sick husband. Think of your future. I can pay you enough to cover his treatment and still leave you with more than enough to take care of yourself. Nnenna, look at you. You were once the most beautiful woman in this village. Look what poverty has turned you into." Kaima watched as her mother began to nod slowly. "Mama, no," she shouted, entering into the house, interrupting their conversation. "Mama, please, no, don't do this." Nnenna's eyes met her daughter's, glistening with unshed tears. "My daughter, I am sorry, but sometimes we must break so that others can live." That night, Kaima wept alone. She turned into a shadow of her old self. The wedding happened swiftly. Kaima's heart felt heavier than the coral beads that now adorned her neck. The celebration was grand, with drummers and dancers moving to the beat of life. But for Kaima, it felt like a funeral march. Her voice was silent, her eyes blank and expressionless. Her new home was vast, but it was no refuge. The walls were lined with wealth, paintings, fine furniture, and silken drapes. But to Kaima, it was a prison. Chief Obidike's presence loomed over her like a storm cloud. "You are no longer a village girl," he declared one night, as she sat by the window humming softly. He had drunk himself to stupor and no longer had control over his utterance. "You are my wife. Your voice belongs to me now." Her fist clenched. "My voice is mine," she muttered under her breath. But he heard her. "Not anymore," he barked. "If you must know, I paid a huge price to get you." "What price?" she said. "Goats? Money? Tubers of yam? Is that what I am worth?" "Your father's farm. Who did you think had the power to do that? So when I say you are mine, know that I own you," Chief Obidike replied. "What? What did you do to my father's farm?" He grabbed her instead and raped her that night. Her songs became whispers, and she kept to herself. She couldn't believe it. Her parents had sold her to the person who caused her predicament. the person that was responsible for their downfall. She hummed into the night like a secret prayer. The days stretched endlessly. She did chores like she had in her family home, but there was no laughter. There was no Ifunanya to dream with. There was nobody to share her joy with. Her isolation was complete. Weeks later, she discovered she was pregnant. Her eyes widened with shock. Her breath shallow. A child? A new chain? She decided to visit her mother to announce the latest update. "I am pregnant, Mama," she said sadly. "Glory be to God," her mother danced. She was now well taken care of. Her dressing was better. Her father had gotten better too and was about to resume farming. "Why are you sad?" her mother asked. "Mama, I had a chance to go to the city. You took that away from me. Did you even know?" she cried. "I know, my daughter. His name was Iberi, Chief Ebuka's son from the city. He came looking for you, but I told him you were married. He was shocked but disappointed. I don't want anybody to maltreat you in the city where I couldn't see you. All I did was for the best for all of us." "Thank you very much, Mama. Thank you for your best," Kaima said as she left the house crying. She carried her baby, and every day she promised to teach her child how to sing and to make sure that the opportunity that she lost was given back to her child. She prayed earnestly that the child in her womb would be a girl. 9 months came quickly, and Kaima's day of delivery came. The labor pains hit her like a storm. She screamed, not caring who heard her. The midwives shouted instructions, but Kaima's mind drifted away, floating somewhere distant. Her body burned with pain, each contraction a sharp knife cutting deeper. "Push!" one of the women yelled. "Push, Kaima! Your child is coming!" Tears streamed down her face as she pushed with everything she had left, but the baby wasn't forthcoming. "She's too young," one of the midwives said. Her mother held her hand and begged her, "Kaima, please, your baby is growing weak and so are you. Just give it your best." She nodded and pushed with all her strength. She felt the release and anticipated the cry of her baby, but all she heard was silence. "Ogini, where is my baby? Mama, where is my baby?" she asked. "Sorry, Ne, but she's dead." Kaima fainted after hearing this. Days after her recovery, she tried so hard to comfort herself, and she was met with another blow. Her tiny voice was gone, replaced by a raspy and rough tone. She tried to sing, but her voice sounded foreign to her ears. She had lost her voice too, and the child that was supposed to give her joy. "God, why?" she cried. "Why did you take my voice? Why not my life?" Her days became endless sorrow, and she wept until she could weep no further. 5 years passed, and Kaima was back to her parents' house. Chief Obidike had sent her packing, calling her a cursed woman. He said he saw no use for her, since she couldn't conceive, neither could she sing the songs that drew him to her. However, before she left, she had stolen a large sum of money from him to cater for herself and her parents. She also stole some of his gold and sold it, in revenge for what he did to her parents. She was back to her simple life and was happier than ever. One day, as she sat by the window to watch little girls play on their way to the stream, which had become her usual custom after her work at the farm, she heard a voice coming from a distant location, the path by the stream, her usual dreaming spot. She listened for a while and quietly sneaked out of the house to watch the young lady who was singing. It was Nneka, one of the girls who loved her at that time and always wanted to be around her. Nneka with hopeful eyes, was singing under the same mango tree where Kaima once dreamed. "That's beautiful, my dear," she clapped for her. "Kaima!" she exclaimed, hugging her tightly with admiration in her eyes. "Where have you been? I have looked for you round this village. I started singing here because it was your favorite spot," she said, smiling. "Really? That's something, Neka," Kaima replied. "I have been busy, my dear, but I certainly don't sing anymore." Neka looked at her. "But why?" Kaima narrated her story to Neka, and by the time she was done, Neka was in tears. "Nne," she said, "I have filled Udoma River with my tears, trust me. But now, instead of wallowing, I think I have found a new dream," she said, beaming with excitement. "Let me see your songbook. I have an idea for this your song." And so, day after day, Kaima and Neka met under the Udala tree to create songs. Kaima wrote and showed Neka all her songs, and Neka was happy to learn and sing them at the village festivals. But it looked like destiny was against Kaima. One day, she got to their usual spot that evening, and Neka was absent. It was unlike Neka to miss practice. So Kaima went to her house to look for her. She found her crying outside her parents' hut all alone. "Neka, what happened?" she asked. "Kaima," Neka cried, laying on her shoulder. "Chief Obidike came to see my father. My father borrowed a huge amount of money from him, and he's requesting that he marries me to offset the debt." "Obidike again?" Kaima spoke angrily. "You will not marry that old man, and this nonsense ends with me," she said, dragging Neka with her. "Clean your face, Nne," she said when they got to a modern house. It was the home of the talent scout that wanted to help Kaima years ago. Her mother said it was Chief Ebuka's son. Kaima had no use for him, but now she did. Kaima knocked at the door, and Chief Ebuka's wife opened the door to her. "Kaima, how are you? What a pleasant surprise," she said, hugging her. "What brings you?" "I need to see Chief Ma. He traveled," she said, "but I can be of help." Kaima sighed. "Ma, I need to contact Ibiri. Please, how do I do that?" She narrated everything that was going on. "It is important that this girl goes to the city, Ma," Kaima said. "I was a big fan of your voice, Kaima," Chief Ebuka's wife said. "It was such a shame when Ibiri couldn't get through to you. However, each time I hear Neka, I hear you sing through her. I will do this for you. I am traveling in 3 days' time, and I'll take Neka with me. But you have to promise to repay the debt to Obidike." "That is not a problem, Ma," Kaima said. "Thank you, Ma." They both thanked her and left. Neka was overjoyed, but she suddenly became sad. "What happened?" Kaima asked her. "The money is much." "How much is it?" Kaima said. "It's time to finally use the money that I've been saving for so long. Let's go and see your father." So, Kaima paid off Neka's debt with the money she had and sent her to Iberi in the city. 6 months later, Kaima received an invitation to the city. Neka was to perform her song, Dare to Hope, and she was to receive an award for the song. Iberi had told Kaima that she was going to perform the song instead of Neka. "My voice is dead, Iberi," she said. "Give Neka the chance to shine." "Your voice died because you decided you never wanted it to live again," Iberi said. He asked her to sing and then started a routine of rehearsals for her. On the D-Day, whilst everyone anticipated Neka's voice, a songbird broke off her shell and bewitched the audience. Indeed, destiny delayed is not destiny denied. I am Kaima. You are Kaima. Everyone who has unfulfilled dreams is Kaima. Sometimes, the path to fulfilling our dreams may be different from what we envisioned, but we must never give up because hope delayed is not hope denied. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe.